Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Go Live. Welcome to June, a new month, and welcome to a new face. We have John Mora here joining us for the very first time. John is a new addition to the team, a new addition to Home Services Insurance. And so we thought with today's topic, what a perfect time to invite you and welcome you to our audience. So welcome, John.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you,
Welcome
audience.
to Home Services. So as we typically do here on Go Live, we like to put people on the spot. So you're no exception, John. You're not, just because you're new, you're not going to get out of it. I'm sorry. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about you, and then I'm going to share with them where you are covering for Home Services.
I'm John Mora with Home Services. Have about 4 to 5 years of experience with the insurance industry, mainly coming from traditionally over at Ace Enterprises AAA
Okay.
with the direct sales unit, and now just dabbing into more of the home market with insurance, and only a few weeks in, but it's an exciting road trip already.
Well, you were very well qualified, and we're excited to have you with us. So you are going to be covering our Orange County offices.
Yes.
So, and I know you've already reached out and spoke to many of our Orange County managers, so we're excited to have you there. And you're also going to be covering a lot of our West Los Angeles branches as well.
Yeah.
So,
the Monarch Bay, Beverly Hills area.
yep, exactly. So what we typically like to do is also ask our co-hosts what they think if an agent were to ask you what your superpower is.
I would probably just mention that I like to be more of an investigator as far as getting into insurance. I like to help my clients discover what the insurance is about and what the benefits are to help them get through it and get them a really good price without any of the fluff or anything like that.
Okay, no fluff, good price. I think you're our first private investigator we've had on the show. So, all right, we'll keep that in mind. So if you're out there and you're in Orange County, West Los Angeles, and you have insurance needs and you want a good investigator to get you the right price without the fluff, John is your man. So welcome, John.
Thank you,
glad to have you here with us. Okay, so I think we have a few slides. We have a couple announcements and reminders that we want to give you before we get right into our topic, which just happens to be all about insurance. Coincidence, see how we did that? All right, so I want to remind you all, because it's pretty fresh, when we were doing our Momentum Tour, those of you that we were able to see on a Momentum Tour, we were proud to announce that we have a new benefit through the brand BHH Accelerate through our partner 1000 Watt, which is a marketing consultant think tank, if you will, partnering with BHHS and Home Services. And so they are here to help us, as it says right there, turbocharge your business. And I'm super excited about that. So I want to remind you all that we have this benefit to you, and this benefit that you can access through the Resource Center. And this benefit is going to help you with your marketing, insights into what the consumers are thinking. As Glenn Welbrock likes to say, it's insights into focus groups where you actually get to get reports on what buyers and sellers are thinking and how maybe we should be marketing ourselves to them. So if you want to go on the next slide, Christina. Again, a little bit more about what's included with our services at BHH Accelerate. And of course, this is a company paid benefit. So why wouldn't you access it and get all of this information at no cost to you? And again, helping you build your business in a way that consumers tell us they want to be marketed to, they want to be communicated with, and help you stay ahead of the curve, right? Great recruiting and marketing ideas. So what I really wanted to remind you of is twice a month, so once a month, every second Thursday of the month is the podcast, where Vince Lacey sits down with the partner, the creator of 1000 Watt, and they go over a different topic every podcast. And so next Thursday is the upcoming podcast. And so the last screen, if you go back for one quick second, Christina, the screen you're seeing here is the Resource Center. So by now you all should know how to access the Resource Center. When you log in, you can see there in the bottom right-hand corner, if you click on that tile. Now, if you go to the next screen, Christina, thank you so much. This will pop up and you can see the blue arrow is directing you to where you could register if you want to make sure that you sign up for next Thursdays. That's June 11th at 9 a.m. Pacific. You want to see the topic is going to be what consumers really want from their real estate marketing. I think that's probably a pretty important topic. right? We spend a lot of time preparing our marketing, making sure that it looks just right and says just the right thing. But why not ask the consumers, right? Why not ask the consumers what they expect from the marketing that they want us to put out? So sign up for that. If you miss the first Accelerator podcast, you can see down below the red arrow. That's where you can get a recording of it. And again, I encourage you to check that one out because that is an episode where Vince sat down with 1000 Watt and they talked about content to clarity, a smarter way to market in real estate. And the content in that podcast was very similar to what 1000 Watt presented at Explosion in January. And that was a phenomenal presentation that they did. And Christina's reminding me, you're so good, Christina. She's reminding me that you can also find that podcast recording on Percipio. So if you didn't want to listen to it on this screen, you could also go to Percipio where you can get that content and all the other content that we put out from California Properties, including a recording of today's episode. So if what you hear from Sharon Smith, our upcoming presenter in just a few moments, you want to revisit, you can revisit that tomorrow, always 24 hours after we present it. You'll always be able to catch it on Percipio as well. So thank you for that reminder, Christina. Okay. And on YouTube. Okay, yes. All these reminders she keeps telling me about. Yes, we are now live on YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel. Okay, moving on. We want to remind you also next week that our Impact Council is putting on part two, part two of a virtual event for homeowners, first-time homebuyers. If you remember a couple weeks ago, I think it was early May, we put on a go live episode put on by the Impact Council. Thank you, Greg Roberts, for helping us put this together for first-time home buyers and all the programs that are available for first-time home buyers. And that was targeting agents and making sure that you understood what those down payment assistance programs were all about, low down payment financing. We wanted to educate you as the agents first. This second half is for you to invite your clients, right? So in the interim, from the first episode to this episode, which is, I think if you go to the next slide, Christina, that's on June 9th from 5 to 6 p.m. From the first episode to this next episode, our marketing department have put together a lot of collateral pieces that you could have used or can still use to invite your clients to attend this special class so they can learn more about how they too can enjoy home ownership, how you can help them become a homeowner. So again, visit the design studio, use that QR code, talk to your marketing representative in your office if you want to get more information than this simple slide can present to you today. But our thanks to Greg Roberts and the folks at Prosperity Home Mortgage for helping us put this together. Certainly our thanks to the Impact Council for all that they do to help us expand the rights of home ownership throughout our entire footprint. And a certain thank you to HFA and the incredible programs that they put together over there as well. So we're excited to be a part of this, and I'm going to be tuning in on June 9th from 5 to 6 p.m., and I hope you join us. Okay, I think that's all we had for those announcements. So without further ado, I want to invite back, she's been on Go Live before, and so I'm excited to welcome back Sharon Smith from the California Department of Insurance. She is with their Community Relations and Outreach Department. She is their outreach analyst. And Sharon, if you want to join us, there you are. Hello, Sharon. Good to see you again.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. So there's a lot going on in real estate, but I know there's a
Yeah.
lot going on in insurance. I think you're
Absolutely.
just as crazy industry as we are. So we
Absolutely.
needed to have you come back to kind of let us know what has been going on in your world, because our
Yeah.
worlds are very intertwined, as my friend
Absolutely.
John here knows all too well.
Oh, no, for
Absolutely.
sure.
I'm just making sure I'm sharing the right screen. Are you able to see the full
We
presentation?
do. I think we
Okay.
see the downtown LA skyline.
Yep.
Yes, that is it. Well, yeah, thanks for having me again. I got my Go Live mug out of storage so I can, drink here with this. But yeah, I'm going to rehash some of the territory that we talked about the last time as it relates to the sustainable insurance strategy. And then also kind of what's been implemented, what we're looking at, some positive signs actually that are happening in the insurance market. And as always, if there's anything that doesn't make sense or, something you want me to clarify, please stop me in the middle of this. But the first thing I wanted to kind of set the scene was why we're in this kind of insurance market crisis. Like I hear from agents all the time that they've had homes that, ready to be sold and they fall out of escrow because the client can't afford insurance or can't acquire insurance. So this is something I'm sure you know all too well. But there's a lot of factors that have really driven this insurance crisis and led us to this really significant crossroads that we're in. The first of which is really climate change. I mean, the increase of severity, intensity of climate events, as you could see, that kind of upward slope of these US billion-dollar disasters year after year. Those things are putting a lot of stress on insurance markets. And then if you couple that climate change threat with the historic inflation that we're seeing, the cost to build houses has gotten tremendously expensive. And so that is also, and I mean, the cost of everything is getting expensive, but especially as it pertains to insurance and housing insurance around building houses has gotten really expensive. And then one part of this that doesn't get talked about as much, but that is very, very a really big driver in this insurance crisis is the cost of reinsurance. And reinsurance is simply insurance for insurance companies. So
Mhm.
everything that we buy, an insurance company also buys, and that includes insurance. So insurance companies buy this reinsurance usually in these like global markets. These reinsurance markets are based on global markets. So as severe climate events are happening around the world, global markets are also, insurance markets are also starting to see that pressure in reinsurance. So insurance companies are paying higher insurance for reinsurance too. So we have all of these factors that are really pushing on this insurance market and has created fewer insurance options. And in California specifically, accelerated growth of the FAIR plan. For those of you who don't know, the FAIR plan is the insurance of last resort, meaning if you can't find insurance anywhere else, the FAIR plan is there. It's not a state-backed insurance. It's a pool of all the private insurance companies that do business in the state, but it is there as kind of that final safety net. But in these really high-risk areas where it's hard to find insurance, that FAIR plan has become the insurance of first resort in a lot of places. So again, in California, we have a very different insurance market, and there hadn't been really any reforms to insurance in over 30 years. So the insurance commissioner has been working over the last few years on many different initiatives around wildfire safety and addressing this insurance crisis. The first of which that I wanted to call to everyone's attention was the Safer from Wildfires Act. And I think this is really important to know as you're looking at homes, as you're trying to sell homes, is that if these homes that you're selling have certain features like certain mitigation that's been done, like a Class A fire rated roof, a 5 foot ember resistant zone, kind of that cleared vegetation and ember resistant fire events. There's a whole list of actions. You can look up the Safer from Wildfires Act on our website. But all of these actions not only are great for a home and make it more protected from wildfires, but it also, under California law, insurers are mandated to provide discounts for homeowners that have these safety measures, these safety actions in place. So every single one of these actions, the roofs, the vents, provide some sort of discount from insurers. And it depends on the insurer. Some of them have far larger discounts than others. But it is important to note if you have these homes that you're calling that to the attention of your insurer when you are filling out a policy.
Did you
The
say, I'm sorry, Sharon, did
Yeah,
you say that they were required by law
to
to
provide
offer?
discounts.
The,
Yes.
Yeah.
the amount of discount bit may vary, but the fact that they do have to provide a discount is required by law.
Absolutely. And that's under
That
the Safer from Wildfires Act. And if there are any issues, sometimes we have heard of insurance agents or brokers that aren't aware that there is a requirement for those discounts. You can always contact our department. And I do have some contact information at the end.
okay.
But yes, by law, they must provide discounts for a suite of different actions. And you can look up what those actions are. There's about 10 of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we might have saved some people money already. All right.
absolutely. Yeah.
16 minutes into the episode, we saved some money. Okay, I
Yeah,
love
we've got to
it.
start with
I
the good
love
stuff.
it.
And so also within this Safer from Wildfires legislation, there was a part of it that mandated that insurers provide transparency on wildfire risk scores. So if you are applying for a new policy, if you're renewing a policy, if there has been some mitigation done on the home, you can also reapply for your risk score. You ask your insurance company what that score is, and similar to the discounts, it varies by insurer. So one insurer might have one rating system and another might have a completely different one, but they at least have to tell you what those scores are, how to improve them, and if there's any information that they're making these decisions on that might not be accurate, you have the right to appeal those scores as well. So there's a lot of really big consumer protections in that Safer from Wildfires legislation that can be really, really useful that I wanted to make sure to highlight. The other really big suite of reforms that came from the Department of Insurance was implemented between 2023 and 2024, and we're starting to see in 2026 kind of some of the positive parts, like I was alluding to at the beginning of a presentation, that the kind of positive actions of these reforms. But the sustainable insurance strategy really expanded the use of forward-looking catastrophe models, meaning insurance companies previously weren't allowed to, in California, be able to use these CAT models. And these models are able to take in a lot of different inputs from the mitigation that's being done at a property level, mitigation that's done at a landscape level. It's taking in all of these different actions and it's providing more accurate pricing options. And it's modernizing kind of the system that we in California have relied on. So this also, under this strategy, if an insurance company wanted to use these catastrophe models, then they had to agree to write more in high wildfire severity zones. So that was the deal. That was the agreement with the insurance companies. If you want to use these CAT modeling tools, you have to write more in these wildfire risk areas. So that is something that we're, again, starting to see some positive signs here. So under the sustainable insurance strategy, now 5 companies have committed to growing in California. And we have about 5 other companies that are right now, they're going through the process of being approved under this strategy. And so you could see the kind of effective dates were there's some that have been in effect for a few months now, and some we'll see in July start to go into effect. But slowly but surely, we're seeing the insurance industry respond to this and start to expand their writing in California. For the last few years, we've seen a lot pull back to stop writing entirely, and this is the first sign that we're starting to see some more positive kind of signs in the insurance market. And
Yeah,
another real, yeah.
I'm sorry, Sharon. I do remember your colleagues at Home Services of Insurance telling us about like USAA and CSAA at some of the office meetings with the agents present. So we had heard a little bit about this, but it's nice to see that there's now 5. That's
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
encouraging.
Absolutely, 5, and that's growing. There's several more that are right now being worked through with our department. And another kind of really big part of this that is a really good positive sign is that the FAIR plan policy, remember that insurance of last resort, that insurance that people get when they can't find any private options, the growth of that plan has substantially slowed down the last quarter of 2025 and this first quarter. This is the slowest kind of increase in rates that we've seen, or the slowest kind of growth in rates that we've seen in a very, very long time. So these are all really kind of positive things that have come from the sustainable insurance strategy. Now, I wanted to switch gears a little bit because we're still working on things at the Department of Insurance. We're still trying to make sure that the insurance industry is running as well as it possibly can. And one of those things that we have looked at the department is the FAIR plan. And so the commissioner has been really pushing this act. It's called the Make It Fair Act, AB 1680. It just passed the committees. It's actually going to be voted on by the Senate, I believe, in the next few weeks. But this act is actually meant to kind of strengthen oversight of the FAIR plan. There's a lot of different recommendations that the insurance commissioner has made to the FAIR plan in the past that haven't been implemented. And so this would make sure that they are implemented, like they would increase their staffing or make it easier for policyholders to get their claims paid out. And when they aren't making these adjustments, this would actually impose fees and fines for if there's a willful non-compliance of those. There's also changes to operational kind of reforms that are being made, especially with the requiring a faster clearinghouse process for returning policyholders to the private market. And the clearinghouse, I'm sure some of you are probably well aware of this, but just for those of you that aren't, for the FAIR plan, a clearinghouse would mean that instead of the individual policyholder trying to get off of this FAIR plan, the FAIR plan itself would be making more of an effort to depopulate these high-risk policies and push them to a private market. And it's really important that we want people off the FAIR plan because, again, it's a very bare bones policy. This is just fire under the FAIR plan. There's not anything else that you need to make it a comprehensive policy. And it's already expensive, just the fire part alone. So adding those difference in conditions policy, as they're called, make this really expensive. So this is meant to, again, push these policies off the FAIR plan, get them back onto the private marketplace. There's also some transparency requirements within this act that improve capital and liquidity and mandate that the FAIR plan make governing meetings public, something that most insurance companies do, but the FAIR plan does not. So this act is meaning to change that. The kind of impacts of this are stronger consumer protection, obviously having some sort of accountability measures when there's that willful violation from the FAIR plan, and overall faster claim handling transparency. They'd have to hire more staff, create a 3 to 5 year plan to speed up wildfire related claims, and again, open meetings and documents to the public. So we are trying, the department, to every day increase transparency and accountability for these insurance companies. Here, if you'd like to scan the QR code, you can hear, I didn't want to go through all of the legislative actions we're doing at the department, but if you do want to look more into those, you can go to this QR code. Here, you can also download letters of support. Like I said, within the next few weeks, these are going to be heard by the Senate. So if you're feeling really strongly about these, you can download those letters, put your name on it, and send it off to your senators and let them know that these are things that you want and maybe your clients do want as well.
Do you happen, Sharon, to have any
Yeah.
idea? And, obviously our California Association of Realtors, they're an advocacy body. Do you happen to know how they feel on any of these? Do they
I'm not
support?
exactly sure on the California Association of Realtors if they have or haven't supported any of these bills, but
Okay.
all the information is there and you can look up exactly what their numbers are in the process.
Okay.
There. But unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't know that.
I would have to imagine that they do.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
Yeah.
And then again, just further kind of education opportunities. I saw at the beginning you were talking about that first-time home buyers webinar series that you're doing. I think that our residential insurance series that's coming up really dovetails well with that. If you want to know about, we're going to have the FAIR plan, actually a representative there talking during that. We'll have somebody from the California Earthquake Authority to talk about earthquake insurance. We'll have somebody from FEMA to talk about flood insurance because FEMA actually administers the National Flood Insurance Program. So if you're looking for more, I know insurance is a really hot topic right now and there's a lot to know, but if you want a big overview of those and how to talk to clients about those, or if you want to send these to clients, again, it's completely free. It'll be recorded. Please join us for that residential insurance series that's coming up on the 17th.
Okay.
And then again, further information, if you want to know what's going on at our department, this Consumer Alerts is the best kind of page to go to. There's new regulations that we'll talk about. We'll talk about fraud prevention, unfair, deceptive business practices, just general insurance issues that are going on. Really kind of one-stop shop. We're not going to spam your inbox. It's usually only 1 or 2, if that, per month, but a good way to stay in touch with our departments. Again, this is some more contact information. Sorry, we got cut off there with the Facebook link, but we are on most social media platforms as well. And if you do have any issues with, I was talking previously about those wildfire risk scores, or about mitigation or discounts, our 1-800 number is great. If you call between 9 to 5, we have a 2-minute response time. You'll talk to a real person and get the support you need, or they'll start a case for you and look into it further if that's what's necessary. So that 800-927-4357 number is really, really important to have.
So
And lastly,
take a screen,
yeah.
I'm talking about the agent audience. Take
Yep.
a picture of this screen, folks.
Absolutely.
Hint, hint, hint.
Yes, save it in your contacts. I think
Yeah.
it's a very, and even if you have like a random insurance question, like I've called our department sometimes just to ask something about a policy or whatever it might be. They'll go through the policy line by line with you. So really good resource to have. And lastly,
Excellent.
I'll end with my information here. If you're in the, I'm moved, I used to be in the San Diego area, but I'm in the Bay Area now. If you're in Northern California, or even if you're in Southern California, I can connect you to the right person. We have analysts all over the state that are willing to talk with, your clients or, a group of them or whatever it might be, do presentations like this, ask questions. I think a lot of times there's a lot of fear and uncertainty around insurance, and maybe sometimes you just need somebody to explain what's going on, and that kind of eases some of those fears. So this is a really good kind of contact page here. Has everything on it, including my information. And you can also fill out a survey here if you liked what I was talking about. If you didn't, maybe don't fill out the survey, but that's kind of a good case. And I'll leave it at that and then kind of open it up to questions.
Yeah. Well, we do have a question. Oh, from Cheryl.
Yeah.
Hey, Cheryl, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, sure.
FYI, we recently had the situation and found out our broker didn't ask us about updates for discounts, and we ended up saving $4,000. So you should
Wow.
check with your broker. In fact, I love that segue, Cheryl. Thank you so much. I was going to ask you, Sharon, if you could go back to that one slide that talked about the kind of early in your presentation
Yeah.
that talked about the discounts
Yeah,
that a
yeah, yeah.
home might have. I think it
Yes.
was that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, the Safer from Wildfires 2022. So is it a web? Should they just Google Safer from Wildfires 2020? Where would
Yeah,
I'm thinking our listing agents might want to know what some of those categories are. I'm sure you know what they
absolutely.
are, but as we're listing properties, they might want to know if this home might qualify for, 10,
100%.
10
Yeah.
of the
Let
12
me
or whatever, because it could be an added value for that particular listing that they
Yeah,
could promote.
let me pull up our website right now, and I will send you. We have a ton of one pagers about this. It might
Oh,
just be easier to have that, and maybe even
okay.
just put that into the chat.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Because it's not just homes that are, like the physical part of the homes. It has protect your home and business, protect the immediate surroundings, and it's part of protecting the whole community. That whole community piece, if you're in a fire-wise community, so if you're in a community that has taken the steps to be fire-wise, and this is its own designation outside of the Department of Insurance, that has some of the biggest discounts. And that's not anything that's done in the home. That's just a community designation that
Right.
everyone's on
Nice.
board about doing kind of fire mitigation and things. So yeah, really good resource to have.
So if your home is in the 1, 2, 3, right? That's the home, the environment, and the community. Home run. That's great. You're
Yeah.
going to get all
Yep,
the discounts possible. But I really can't control my community, but I can control the first two, my home and my
exactly.
surrounding areas.
Yep.
And with inventories increasing in some of our markets, homes staying on the market longer, I'm just trying to think of ways that our sellers can stand out and our listing agents can add value to their listings. And I think this might be one of those ways to do that. So yeah, if you have those flyers, that'd be great. And our agents already know that when Christina posts these recordings on Percipio, there's the recordings and then there's also the documents that accompany those recordings. And so we'll
Okay,
absolutely put whatever flyers you provide to us, we'll put
great.
those there as well. So our agents will have copies of those
Absolutely.
as well. So that's awesome.
And
All
I
right,
just sent the web page that has several flyers on there, but I will definitely follow up with the
there
PDF
you
so that you
go.
can include
Perfect.
it on that.
Okay. See, this is solutions in real time. I love it. This is why we invited you back because you're a detective, just
Yeah,
like John here. You are a
exactly.
problem solver. Okay. John, do you have any questions or any comments for Sharon?
No, I really do like the Safer from Wildfire because, only a couple of years ago, guidelines would get shrunken more and more through all the insurance agencies and carriers. So being able to get people on board and get communities on board to get mitigation going definitely helps out,
Yeah.
especially in California,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
especially coming this
Absolutely.
summer.
It seems like every time we have you back, the news gets more and more positive. So
That's a good
I think
sign.
we should have you back next week. Can you
Yes.
can you bring us more positive news next week? Yeah. So yeah, definitely different story than it was last year and
It
even the
was.
year before
Yeah,
that, right? The year before that, it
absolutely.
was. I remember we had more transactions being canceled at the 11th hour
Yeah.
because of insurability, and it
Absolutely.
seems like that has become more of a rarity these days.
It
Happy
is.
to say. So,
Yes.
um,
Knock on wood. Yes.
knock on wood. Yeah. Well, Sharon, thank you. I'm glad you got your mug out of storage, although never should have been in storage in the first place. You should have it proud on your desk. I realize you moved to the Bay Area,
Yes,
so
I
you
just
probably
moved.
had to
I just
unpack it.
moved.
Okay, we'll give you some slack there. So, all right. Well, thank you very
Thanks
much.
for
I
having me.
appreciate you being with us, and
Yes,
we will see you again.
absolutely.
Good
Have a
job.
great day.
You're getting hearts. You're getting kudos. So you take care. All right. Well, and our new mantra today, and now we're on Go Live, is when we're done, we're done. And so she was so efficient with her time. We are done early. So we're going to give you back a half an hour of your day. But if you want to see, you saw in the chat, so we're going to give you a couple minutes if you want to go and capture that web link that is in the chat right now, so you too can find the website that Sharon talked about. You can find those PDFs, but we will have it in the recording. We will have it on Percipio tomorrow. We'll make sure that you have access to the information. But I do think that if our sellers could start promoting that their home, they have taken those necessary steps for the home and their surrounding area, or if I'm a buyer, right? And I want to be able to educate myself, because when I'm calling you to get my insurance quote, I want to make sure that I tell you about it. So I'm not like Cheryl, where I don't know that I qualify for a $4,000 discount and I find out about it too late, right?
Just like Cheryl and myself, we're going to find those discounts for you.
Yeah, the detective here.
And get you your policy so you can get moved into your house quicker.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We will see you next. Oh, we got a quote. We got a quote. That's right. What would I do without Christina? She's reminding me constantly of everything. It's coming. It's a coming. Is it up? Okay, I can tell. We see things differently on this end. Okay, so as usual, our objective with every Go Live episode is to empower you with information and knowledge. So knowledge is power, information is liberating, and that is from Kofi Annan. And Kofi was a diplomat from Ghana. He is the 7th Secretary General of the United Nations from 1997 to 2006. He was the first Black African to serve as the UN Secretary General. And in his efforts in peacekeeping, he won jointly with the United Nations, he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2001. And so I liked what he had to say. Very wise man. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you joining us today, and we'll see you next week. And next week, reminder, we have the First Buyer Home Fair on June 9th. So I hope you can join us for that as well. Oh, we have Stephen Thomas. Oh, yeah. Speaking of a lot of knowledge, we have Stephen Thomas. And we will have Greg Parker from Prosperity Home Mortgage as our co-host. So thank you, John, for being our guest from Home Services Insurance. And good luck with your new position. You're going to do well.